Cultures. The world is consist of various different cultures from various different parts of the world, and I'm a huge cultural buff as I love learning about culture of different people and places. One of the major reasons why I love learning about culture of other people is that it provides you with knowledge about mysteries of life and gives you new perspective to look at things and enjoy life, which in a way helps me grow and improve as a person. Hence, being the reason behind why I love learning about different cultures. As I've said, there are many cultures in the world, and the thing about them is that to learn about some cultures, I don't really have to do much of hard work as they have gained the title of being mainstream, so I can find information about them online easily. While on the other hand, for some cultures, I had to work so hard and go so deep on the internet that I literally feel like, am I on dark web right now? And the culture that I'm gonna talk about today is such a weird one that it falls under both, as it is a mainstream one, yet still not much of information is available regarding it, and it's the N-word culture. First thing first, I don't even know if I can call it a culture. It's a subculture, I guess, or maybe a lifestyle, I don't know. And I'm not trying to be racist because this N-word thing is something I've been genuinely trying to learn and know about. And for that, I watched many content explaining the dark history behind the word, and for the most part, I understood everything regarding the word all fine and clear, but there is this one aspect of it that I'm just not able to understand, and it's the offensive spectrum of this word, which like shows when this word is offensive and when it's not. That's the part I didn't understand. So I watched many content and explanation videos regarding just that offensive spectrum of the word. But even after watching countless of such videos, I didn't find anything that could make me, a person from a third world country, understand how it's not offensive when a black person says it, but it's the most offensive thing ever when a white person mistakenly spells it out in the flow while singing a rap verse that has the N-word in it. You see, being from a third world country, how I got introduced to the N-word is through American rap songs, where they used to use the N-word in their raps in such a way that it gave off this impression as if the N-word means bro. So for the very long period of time, I used to use N-word as a synonym of bro, friend, or a brother in my day-to-day life. And one day, I came to know the truth that the word I've been using thinking it represents brotherhood turns out is a racial slur. The day I got to know the truth behind that word, I felt betrayed. Like the people I had thought to be my idols were making me say racial slurs? Kanye, how could you do this to me, man? I thought of you as my idol. How could you be teaching me bad things? You see, there are many teens in my locality that still use the N-word thinking it represents brotherhood. And I'm not able to confront them and tell them the truth because I'm afraid that they too would feel the same sense of betrayal that I felt when I found out that the N-word is a racial slur. Since then, I've been trying my best to understand the N-word, and though I understood most of the things about it, its offensive spectrum is what's confusing for someone like me, who is from a completely different part of the world. Yet still, I comforted myself saying, maybe that's how things work there. Black people are allowed to say it, and white people are not. After making myself think in that way, the confusion show was solved for a very long time, and I felt like I finally understood this culture too, no matter how complex it may have seemed at first. But to my surprise, I discovered this guy named Logic, and I really liked his music. So in the process of exploring his music, I found that he says the N-word too, but he's white. Yet still, no one takes any offense in him saying the N-word. Not only Logic, there are many other rappers with white skin that freely say the N-word in their rap songs, like Lil Pump, 6ix9ine. And these people not only broke my illusion, but they made me even more confused because they proved everything I researched wrong. So I again did my research on how come they can say it while being white. And I found that it's not the color of your skin that matters. Instead, it's your race that grants you the N-word pass. At that point, I just lost it. Because now, people are just making excuses to give themselves the N-word pass. According to their logic, this guy can say the N-word because his stepfather was black, but this guy can't because he's just not black enough. Being from a third world country who has no idea what it's like to live in America, I shouldn't be saying this, but it's just my perception that perhaps the N-word would have gone extinct by now only if the blacks didn't use it either and didn't popularize the word through their rap songs. Because I saw in some interview where Morgan Freeman said that the only way to end racism is stop talking about it. I sometimes think how many people in the history there must have been who had to give their lives for this word to go extinct. Just how many dying people's last wish it must have been for this word to go extinct. So I think if somehow those people were brought back to life, how would they feel when they get to know that their own people kept this word alive throughout all these years? But hey, who am I to even comment on all this? I just find it so confusing. How can a word be so offensive and not offensive at all at the same time? And how black people be laughing when a black person says the N-word, but when a white person even says a word that isn't the N-word but sort of sounds like it, they all of a sudden get this adrenal boost and go berserk. I'm just not able to comprehend this concept because nothing like this confusing exists here, because racism is just bad no matter whoever does it. But in the case of N-word, here are just too many double standards. Like, why put the word in the song and popularize it in the first place when you don't want other people to say it? And I also have this confusion, like, is it still offensive if a white guy goes up to his black friend and says, "What up, my N-word?" Like, it doesn't completely say the N-word but refers to it by saying the sentence, "What up, my N-word?" So is it offensive or not? If the answer is no, it's not offensive, then that's literally a loophole to say the N-word, because the guy here literally said the N-word but in a smart way. Or if the answer is yes, it's offensive, then how come people can get away with saying Ryan Higa's YouTube channel, Niga Higa, or actor Arnold's last name, because they almost sound like the N-word? And if you answer it with no, they're not saying the N-word, it may sound similar to the N-word, but the meaning of those words are completely different. So you see, the context matters. And if that's the case, the context matters, then why do people comment on Asian artist song calling him or her racist because the word he or she said sounds like the N-word, while in truth all the artist is saying the word you in their language? Shouldn't the context matter in this case as well before making such big allegation towards the artist? Okay, this all must be sounding very stupid, childish and nonsense, and everything I said till this point could be all wrong, because my perception and everything I know about this subject is all based on the media and how they portrayed this subject to me, and their portrayal could be far from truth as well. So for the grounded level approach, I visited those threads and discussions on social media where this subject was being discussed for to know how exactly people of that think about this thing and how do they handle this confusion. And before anything, let me tell you that those discussions were not peaceful, because even the people up there are as confused as us outsiders regarding this topic, which always leads to people throwing shade at each others in the discussion by saying stuff like, if just the pronunciation of a certain word in a song makes you violent, then there is something wrong with you. And then the guy gets critiqued with the reply saying, what do you mean by something is wrong with us? It's a racial slur and a derogatory term against us. Of course, saying it would make us go mad. And again, the reply gets critiqued with another reply saying, there is this saying that one must be correct before he corrects other. So in the same sense, shouldn't you guys not use the word in the first place for to be in the rightful position to tell others not to use it? And just like that, the cycle of criticizing one another continues, with the main theme being, it's a racial slur, so no one should use it, or only black people can use it, not others, or everyone should be allowed to use it. And the explanation that was given on why everyone should be allowed to use it was that most people around the globe, except for English-speaking countries and some European countries, people outside of them believe that the N-word means homie or a friend. So if the people from the English-speaking and European countries don't try to politically correct the outsiders regarding this word, then the word would lose its derogatory meaning. Instead, it would turn into a synonym for the word friend, making the word lose its value and power, hence being the positive future of the word. But regardless that might be the future of this word or not, there was this statement I heard from a guy while in the process of researching for this video, which critiques this point of everyone should be allowed to use the N-word. Because in that statement, the guy said that he doesn't want people to ever forget that the N-word was the last word that some black man or a woman would have heard right before they were assaulted, abused, raped or murdered. And that statement really hit me hard, as I believe I have always been respectful towards others. So if people just don't want me to say a word, and me not saying a certain word keeps things cool and makes people happy, then I can respect that and just not say the word. So the conclusion of all this comes out that if there is something in your native language that may sound like the N-word, But you live in America where it's offensive, then just be respectful and use the synonym of the word, which doesn't sound like the N-word because one must respect the culture of where he/she lives. And if you are an American tourist in Asia and the person next to you while talking is saying something that may sound like the N-word, then don't freak out on him because he's not saying the N-word, and you too need to respect the culture and language of the place you at. Because I heard somewhere the only way for us to beat and overcome racism is through respect. But I still find black people calling each other N-word really weird. Like who started that? Something that was meant to be a slur, something that caused them so much pain and sorrow in the past. They turned it into like their own exclusive word. Because never in my life I've seen a Jew greet another Jew with Heil Hitler or with that Nazi salute. But again, I'm just an outsider and I shouldn't be making comments like this.